Hello. Welcome to the Black Mass. We've been hoping you'd join us tonight. There's plenty of room in our establishment for everyone. I see that most of you are standing in the outer darkness, along the walls, in the corners. Well and good. But our inner circle, our chain of empathy, is not yet complete. 12 is such an even number. We need just one more. Won't someone volunteer? Come on. It's only in spirit. Ah, yes. You'll do nicely. Right here, on my left. Now, we're all set. Tonight, a little something for everyone, as we bring you 6 little tales by Lord Dunsany. In the order of their appearance, first, a nightmare, brought on by an overdose of lobster salad. Then, the workman, a moral for those who care enough to throw the first stone. Next, have your flask ready for the charm against thirst. This will be followed by an eyewitness report on how the enemy came upon Tlunrana, an enemy destined for all our inner sanctums. And finally, our favorite oarsman, Charon, and a situation he was bound to run into sooner or later. We saved this one specially for the end. Here now, 6 little tales by Lord Dunsany. I was climbing round the perilous outside of the palace of Kolkonombros. So far below me that in the tranquil twilight and clear air of those lands, I could only barely see them, lay the craggy tops of the mountains. It was along no battlements or terrace edge I was climbing, but on the sheer face of the wall itself, getting what foothold I could where the boulders joined. Had my feet been bare, I was done. But though I was in my nightshirt, I had on stout leather boots, and their edges somehow held in those narrow cracks. My fingers and wrists were aching. Had it been possible to stop for a moment, I might have been lured to give a second look at the fearful peaks of the mountains down there in the twilight. And this would have been fatal. That the thing was all in a dream is beside the point. We have fallen in dreams before. But it is well known that if in one of those falls you ever hit the ground, you die. I had looked at those menacing mountain tops below me, and knew well that such a fall as the one I feared would have such a termination. Then I went on. It is strange what different sensations there can be in different boulders. When your life depends on the edges of every one you come to. Those edges seemed strangely different. It was of no avail to overcome the terror of one, for the next would give you a hold in quite a different way, or hand you over to death in a different manner. Some were too sharp to hold, and some too flush with the wall. Those whose hold was the best crumbled the soonest. Each rock had its different terror. And then there were those things that followed behind me. And at last I came to a breach made long ago by an earthquake, or lightning, or war. I should have had to go down 1,000 feet to get round it. And they would have reached me while I was doing that. For certain sable apes, things that had tigerish teeth and were born and bred on that wall, had pursued me all the evening. In any case, I could have gone no further. Nor did I know what the king would do whose wall I was climbing. Oh, it was time to drop and be done with it, or stop and await those apes. And then it was that I remembered a pin. A pin that I had thrown carelessly down out of an evening tide in another world to the one where grew that glittering wall. Oh, the pin. It was lying now, if no evil chance had removed it, on the chest of drawers beside my bed. The apes were very close and hurrying, for they knew my fingers were slipping, and the cruel peaks of those infernal mountains seemed surer of me than the apes. Finally, I reached out with a desperate effort of will towards the other world, where the pin lay on the chest of drawers. I groped about. Where is it? I found it! And before the beasts could reach me, I grabbed the pin and I ran it through my arm. Saved. 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 I saw the workman fall with his scaffolding right from the summit of that hotel. As he came down, I saw him holding a knife and trying to cut his name on the scaffold. He had time to try to do this, for he must have had nearly 300 feet to fall. And I could think of nothing but his folly in doing this futile thing. For not only would the man be unrecognizably dead in 3 seconds, but the very pole on which he tried to scratch as much of his name as he had time for was certain to be burnt in a few weeks for firewood. Futility. Then I went home, for I had work to do, and all that evening I thought of the man's folly. till the thought hindered me from serious work. And late that night, while I was still at work, a ghost of the workman, floated through my wall and stood before me laughing. I could see the grey diaphanous form standing before me, shuddering with laughter. You, workman, ghost, why are you laughing? What are you laughing at? Why, I'm a-laughing at you, sitting and working there. But why? Why do you laugh at serious work? Why? Why, your bloomin' life'll go by like a wind, and your old silly civilization will be tidied up in a few centuries. Futility. Futility. Then, still laughing, he faded back through the wall again, and into the eternity from which he had come.
Summer, after many delays, had come at last to London, and the heat beat back from the walls and pavements so that the streets were baking. Just after lunch, when it seemed about at its hottest, I was walking down the Strand, going eastwards, when whom should I see, far off in the clear, bright air, but Jawkins coming towards me. Instead of any sign of recognition, he pulled out the end of his watch chain and began absently swinging it. As we drew nearer, I saw something blue on the watch chain, some sort of charm flashing round and round. When we were within a yard of each other, his eyes were still far from me. "Hello, Mr. Jawkins."
Hello there.
Out for a walk?"
Quite true, quite true. That's just what I'm out for.
The charm now hung still at the end of the watch chain. I looked at it, a little wavy thing, all blue and shiny, hard stone, but all cut into ripples, and blue, 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 right down into the deeps of it. It wasn't turquoise. It was too opaque for a gem. I don't know what it was, but I never saw any little ornament that so set you thinking of water.
Ever seen one of these?
No, what is it?
Well, it's a charm.
Oh, what does it do?
Oh, it doesn't do anything very much. It keeps you from dying of thirst. I find it handy now and then.
Well, it's handy on a day such as this anyway. And luck's already with us. There's Moltano's. Come in with me and tell me all about it. For there's one thing about Jawkins, and that is that he'll always tell you a story. Whether you believe it or not, it's your own affair, but he's always good for a story. And another thing about him is that he likes to be offered a drink.
The trouble about thirst is that you never know when it's going to catch you. I don't very often want a drink, but when I do...
Oh, on a day like this, I should think we all want a drink. What shall we have, Mr. Jawkins?
Well, on a day like this, I should think whiskey and soda.
Whiskey and soda? Well, I expect you're probably right. And I ordered 2 whiskies and sodas. We sat